I resisted the urge to slap him again. Without a moment's hesitation, I uncapped the pen and signed my name. A few minutes later, Mark and I walked out of the courthouse with our divorce certificate. The Harrisons huddled together, their faces beaming with relief, celebrating as if they'd just won the lottery. We're finally free of that jinx. Yes, and that sickly Amy is gone too. I was afraid to even let Ted get near her. What if he caught it? A sick kid, and a girl at that. What was the point of treating her anyway? They were all breathing a collective sigh of relief, savoring their freedom. But in the next second, a text message alert chimed on my former in-law's phones. I knew what it was. Ted's diagnosis had arrived. The smile froze on my mother-in-law's face mid-laugh. She fumbled for her phone, her fingers trembling as she unlocked the screen. The living room, still buzzing with their triumphant chatter, went silent in an instant, as if someone had flipped a switch. I stood a few paces away, my hands tucked casually into my coat pockets, watching the color drain from their faces one by one. My father-in-law, who'd been clapping Mark on the back and muttering about new beginnings, noticed first. "Marge, what's wrong?" he snapped, annoyed by the sudden quiet. But when he saw his wife's lips part in a silent gasp, his own expression hardened. He snatched the phone from her hand, and I could see his eyes scan the message, his jaw tightening with every word. "Leukemia," he whispered, the word barely audible. "Ted? Our Ted?" Mark, who'd been staring at his divorce certificate like it was a winning ticket, froze. "What? That's impossible." Ted was fine this morning. He had pancakes. He was laughing. He lunged for the phone, his hands shaking so hard he nearly dropped it. The rest of the family, my sister-in-law, her husband, even the aunts and uncles who'd shown up to support Mark, crowded around, their voices rising in panic. My sister-in-law, Ted's mother, let out a scream that curdled my blood. "No, no, this can't be real. The doctor must have mixed up the results. Ted's healthy. He's perfect." She collapsed to her knees sobbing, and her husband knelt beside her, his face ashen. "We need to go to the hospital. Now. We'll get a second opinion, third, fourth, whatever it takes." My father-in-law, ever the one to take control, snapped out of his shock first. He straightened his shoulders, his face red with fury, not at the disease, but at the universe for daring to strike his golden boy. "Get the car," he barked at my brother-in-law. "Marge, stop crying. We don't have time for this. Mark, you're coming with us. Ted needs his father." Mark hesitated. He glanced at me, then at the divorce certificate in his hand, then back at the chaos unfolding around him. For a split second, I saw a flicker of something, guilt, fear, in his eyes. But it was gone as quickly as it came. He nodded, shoving the certificate into his pocket, and followed the others toward the parking lot. No one looked back at me. No one said a word about Amy. No one even remembered I was there. I waited until their cars had disappeared around the corner, then pulled out my own phone. I'd already messaged my mother earlier, telling her to take Amy to the pediatrician for a routine checkup, just to be thorough, I'd said. Now, I sent her a quick text, "All good. Meet me at the hospital in an hour. We'll get Amy's results, then go home." She replied instantly, "Amy's asking for you. She says she misses her mommy." My chest ached. I typed back, "Tell her I'm on my way. And Mom, thank you." I drove to the hospital slowly, my mind racing. The Harrisons would be there by now, bombarding the doctors with questions, demanding tests, refusing to accept the truth. They'd throw money at the problem, money they'd claimed they didn't have for Amy. They'd beg for favors, pull strings, do whatever it took to save Ted. And when the doctors told them what I already knew, when they said Ted needed a bone marrow transplant and the best match would be a close relative, that's when the fun would start. I parked the car and walked into the hospital, my steps steady. The waiting room was a zoo, nurses rushing by, parents holding crying children, the smell of antiseptic hanging in the air. I spotted my mother and Amy in a corner, Amy sitting on her lap, coloring in a book. When Amy saw me, she dropped her crayon and held out her arms. "Mommy," she yelled, her voice bright. I knelt down and pulled her into a hug, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "Hi, baby. Did you be good for Grandma?" She nodded, holding up her coloring page, a rainbow, with a little girl and a cat in the middle. I drew us. "See, that's you, and that's me, and that's Mr. Whiskers. It's perfect," I said, my throat tight. My mother squeezed my shoulder, her eyes soft. "The doctor said her results are fine," she whispered. "No signs of anything. Just a little anemia, which he said is normal for kids her age. He prescribed some vitamins, that's all." I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Thank God. I picked Amy up, holding her close, and turned to leave. "Let's go home, baby. I'll make you your favorite, mac and cheese with extra cheese." Amy cheered, resting her head on my shoulder. As we walked toward the exit, I passed the waiting room where the Harrisons were gathered. My sister-in-law was still sobbing, my father-in-law was yelling at a nurse, and Mark was staring at the floor, his hands in his pockets. None of them noticed me. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. That night, my phone rang until it died. It was Mark, my in-laws, my sister-in-law, all begging me to answer. I ignored them. I fed Amy, read her a bedtime story, and tucked her into bed. She fell asleep holding my hand, her breathing soft and steady. When I was sure she was asleep, I plugged my phone in and turned it on. There were dozens of missed calls and text messages. "Mark, Lily, we need to talk. It's Ted. He has leukemia. The doctors say he needs a transplant. My mother-in-law, Lily, I know we've had our differences, but this is Ted. Our grandson. You have to help us. My sister-in-law, Lily, please. I'm begging you. If Amy is a match, if she can save Ted, I'll do anything. I'll pay you. I'll apologize, whatever you want. I smiled. I typed a reply to Mark, short and sweet. I'm sorry about Ted. But Amy and I are no longer part of your family, you remember? Your notice was final. Then I blocked their numbers. All of them. The next morning, I woke up to a knock at the door. It was my sister-in-law, her eyes red and puffy, her clothes rumpled. She looked like she'd been up all night. Lily, she said, her voice breaking. Please, let me in. We need to talk about Ted. I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms. I have nothing to say to you. You made your choice. You chose Ted over Amy. Now you have to live with it. She fell to her knees, grabbing my ankle. I know I was wrong. I'm so sorry, for everything. For what we did to Amy, for what we said to you. But Ted is my son. I can't lose him. Please, just let Amy get tested. If she's a match, we'll make it worth your while. We'll give you money, a house, anything. I kicked her hand away, my voice cold. Money? A house? You think that's what this is about? You think you can buy my forgiveness? Buy Amy's life? I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. Last time, you said if Amy had leukemia, you'd make Ted donate. But when Amy was dying, you wouldn't even spare a dime. You said she was unlucky. You said it was her fate. Her face paled. I know I said those things. I was wrong. I was selfish. But please, Ted is just a kid. He doesn't deserve this. Amy was just a kid too, I said. But that didn't matter to you, did it?